Let me ask you something real. When was the last time you truly sat with yourself? No phone, no noise, no agenda, just you. Most people can't remember because we've been trained, programmed, and conditioned to live outside ourselves. We're told to chase the next thing, compare our timeline to someone else's, and base our worth on how we stack up in a world that doesn't even know our name. We're drowning in distractions that look like connection. We're starving for self-worth and feeding ourselves with empty likes and filtered lives. We're taught to obsess over what others think, what they wear, how they speak, who they date, what they buy, what they achieve. And while you're looking out the window, watching their lives move forward, your own life sits in neutral. You scroll endlessly. You check stories, then posts, then reels. You compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel and wonder why you feel so far behind, why you feel so exhausted, why you can't seem to catch up. The truth is, you're not behind. You're distracted. Your focus has become your greatest liability instead of your most powerful asset. Because here's something no one teaches you growing up. What you focus on grows. If you focus on comparison, you grow insecurity. If you focus on fear, you grow paralysis. If you focus on drama, you grow chaos. But if you focus on discipline, you grow freedom. If you focus on growth, you grow momentum. If you focus on you, the real you, everything starts to shift. Your life right now, everything about it is a reflection of what you've been focusing on. That might sting, but it's true. If all your energy is being spent on what everyone else is doing, you're draining the very life force meant to build something of your own. Think of your attention like sunlight. Whatever you shine it on will bloom. If you shine it on weeds, the weeds grow. But if you direct that light toward your own garden, your own mind, your own goals, your own healing, suddenly everything starts to change. But most people never get there. You know why? Because focusing on yourself is uncomfortable. It means you have to confront your own habits. It means you can't blame everyone else anymore. It means taking full ownership for your time, your thoughts, your patterns. And ownership? That's a scary word for people who've spent their lives outsourcing responsibility. You want confidence, you want success, you want purpose. Stop waiting for it to be handed to you. Confidence doesn't come from applause, it comes from alignment. Success doesn't come from what you chase, it comes from what you commit to. And purpose doesn't come from scrolling, it comes from silence. But none of that happens when your eyes are locked on someone else's path. Let me share something I learned the hard way. There's no trophy for keeping up with people who don't even know you're in the race. There's no peace in performing for an audience who only claps when you lose yourself. You don't become powerful by being liked. You become powerful by being aligned. And alignment starts with focus. But here's the problem. Our world rewards distraction. Every app you open is a battlefield for your attention. Every swipe is designed to keep you chasing dopamine instead of discipline. Every notification is a test. Are you going to give your energy away or are you going to protect it? And every time you choose the outside world over your inner world, you send yourself a message. What they're doing is more important than what I'm building. But what if you flip that? What if for the next 30 days, you made a different choice? What if you stopped watching other people and started watching your habits? What if you stopped asking, what are they doing? And started asking, what am I creating? What if you stopped trying to be seen and started seeing yourself? You'd be shocked how fast your life would begin to change. Your peace would return, your energy would lift, your goals would sharpen, not because life got easier, but because you stopped making it harder by giving your power away. Let me be blunt. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to wake you up in the morning and force you to focus. No one is going to block the distractions for you. No one is going to choose your purpose over your procrastination. That's on you. But that's also the good news. Because if it's on you, then you can change it. You can start today. You can shift your focus. You can take your energy back. And when you do, the world starts to respond. Not because it changed, but because you did. This is the difference between people who feel stuck and people who evolve. Stuck people wait to feel ready. Evolving people redirect their focus and act their way into readiness. The world isn't waiting for perfect people. It's waiting for focused people. So I want to ask you something, and I don't want a surface level answer. I want the raw, uncomfortable, honest one. Where is your focus going right now? And is it creating the life you say you want? If not, today is the moment you decide to reclaim it. Here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, stop watching others. Start watching your mind, your mouth, your movement. Start showing up for you like your future depends on it, because it does. Comment below with one distraction you're cutting out starting today. Like this video, if something inside you just clicked, subscribe, because this journey to clarity, discipline, and transformation is just beginning. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for choosing growth. Let's go deeper. Let me destroy a myth for you right now. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's not something you stumble upon. It's not something someone else gives you. Confidence is built, and it's built in silence, in sweat, in repetition, in the moments no one sees. We live in a culture that tells you to just believe in yourself, like it's some light switch you flip. But real confidence doesn't come from belief, it comes from evidence. Evidence you gather every time you show up for yourself, especially when it's hard, especially when you don't feel like it. Let me break this down. Every time you make a promise to yourself and you keep it, you stack confidence. Every time you say you'll do something and follow through, you stack confidence. And every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, and don't, you're stacking doubt instead. Confidence is like a bank account. You're either making deposits or withdrawals. Every choice matters. Every small action either tells your mind, I can trust myself, or I can't. And trust me, your brain is watching. The people you admire most didn't wake up one day and feel unstoppable. They got there by becoming consistent. Not perfect, consistent. And the truth is, it starts smaller than you think. Let's say you feel stuck in your routine, you want to change your life, but it feels overwhelming, you don't know where to start. Here's the shift, start with 1%. I call it the 1% shift. 1% more focus, 1% more discipline, 1% more effort today, right now. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to move one step. Because momentum doesn't come from doing everything right. It comes from doing something. And the best part, that 1% compounds. You brush your teeth every day, right? You don't expect sparkling results after one brush, but you know it matters. It's the same with your mindset, your habits, your focus. Want to build confidence? Wake up and do one thing you said you would. That's the rep. That's the work. That's the deposit. The biggest trap people fall into is waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for the right time. But motivation is not the starter, it's the reward. The people who are building disciplined lives aren't doing it because they always feel like it. They're doing it because they've trained themselves to move, no matter what their emotions say. Discipline doesn't ask permission. You've got to stop giving your feelings the final vote. Feelings are real, but they're not facts. They change based on sleep, weather, hormones, other people's energy. You cannot build your life on something that fluctuates with your mood. You want to feel powerful. Do the thing you said you would, especially when you don't feel like it. That's how confidence is earned. Look, your phone will always tempt you. Your bed will always feel more comfortable. Netflix will always have another episode. But your future doesn't care about comfort. It cares about consistency. You're not behind in life because you lack time or talent. You're behind because you've been negotiating with your potential. And every time you do that, you train your brain to settle. But what if you made a decision today to stop, to show up 1% more again and again until it becomes your new standard? It's not glamorous. It's not sexy. It won't look good on Instagram, but it will change your life. Because let me tell you what most people don't understand. Success is boring. It's quiet. It's 1,000 small things done well when no one's watching. It's waking up at 6 a.m. instead of scrolling till 8. It's choosing water over soda. It's reading a chapter instead of watching a TikTok. It's setting your alarm and honoring it like a meeting with your future self. It's choosing your long-term vision over your short-term feelings over and over again. You won't always get it right. That's okay. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for pattern. And if you're waiting for someone to come push you, I'll tell you this, no one can do your push-ups for you. No one can run your race. No one can build your habits. That's your work. That's your growth. That's your responsibility. The most powerful people, they weren't born disciplined. They built it. So Here's what I want you to do. Pick one habit, just one, not 5, not 10. Start with one. Something simple, something you can do daily. Drinking more water, moving your body, planning your day the night before, meditating for 5 minutes, reading one page, saying no to that one distraction. Then do it every day. Non-negotiable, track it, watch it build, watch your mind start to believe again. Because here's what happens. Small wins create self-trust. Self-trust creates consistency. Consistency creates transformation. That's the flow, not overnight miracles, not 30-day shortcuts, just daily mastery. And you know what's beautiful about this? It works for everyone. It doesn't matter how behind you feel. It doesn't matter how many times you've started and stopped. It doesn't matter who doubted you, or even if you've doubted yourself. What matters is that today you choose movement. Today you stop negotiating. Today you shift your identity from I can't to I do, from someday to starting now, from I wish to I will. And yes, it'll be uncomfortable, but that discomfort, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's a sign you're growing. Because transformation doesn't feel good in the moment. It feels like resistance. It feels like effort. It feels like vulnerability. But later, it feels like confidence, like alignment, like freedom. So let me leave you with this. You don't build a confident life by talking about it. You build it by becoming a person of action, one tiny, consistent choice at a time. Start today, move 1% forward. Build the future you keep pretending you don't have time for, because you do. You always have. Let's get honest, most people aren't stuck because they're weak. They're stuck because they're leaking energy. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're giving too much energy to the wrong things. Think about it. How much of your energy goes into overthinking conversations that already happened? Into trying to change people who don't want to change? Into pleasing people who don't even respect your boundaries? How many hours have you wasted this week scrolling through other people's lives, comparing, judging, wishing, avoiding your own? This is the silent thief no one talks about. Energy leaks. They're invisible, but they're real. And they are robbing you. They steal your clarity. They drain your motivation. They bury your confidence under the weight of constant distraction. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. You need to plug the holes in your energy bucket, because no matter how much positivity you pour into your day, if your energy is leaking, nothing sticks. Let me ask you a painful question. Are you spending more time managing problems than creating solutions? Are you letting low-value people take up high-value space in your mind? Are you giving your attention to things that never give anything back? We're often so busy reacting, replying to messages, putting out fires, trying to be liked, trying to be understood, that we don't even notice how drained we feel until it's too late. Let me break it down for you. Every time you entertain drama, you leak energy. Every time you replay that argument in your head, you leak energy. Every time you try to convince someone of your worth, you leak energy. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you leak energy. And over time, those leaks become a lifestyle. You feel anxious but don't know why. You feel heavy but can't explain it. You feel stuck but think you just need more time. You don't need more time. You need to reclaim your energy. Energy is your currency. And you're spending it on things that don't pay you back. Imagine this. Your energy is like a phone battery. You start the day at 100%, but before you've even finished breakfast, you've already drained 40% worrying about who liked your post, checking notifications, comparing your body to someone else's gym selfie, mentally prepping a fake version of yourself for that meeting. By lunch, you've wasted another 30% thinking about that one text that didn't get a reply. And by the end of the day, you're wondering why you have no strength left to work on your goals. It's not your job. It's not your life. It's not your capacity. It's your focus. You've been spending energy instead of investing it. You wouldn't give your credit card to a stranger. Why are you handing your attention to every voice, every drama, every dopamine hit? Look, I get it. We were never taught how to protect our energy. We were taught to be available, to respond instantly, to keep everyone happy. But availability is not the same as purpose. And being liked is not the same as being fulfilled. You need to learn to guard your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Here's how to start. 1, audit your energy drains. Sit down tonight and write out who drains you. What drains you? When do you feel most depleted? What thoughts loop in your mind without resolution? Be brutally honest. Awareness is the first plug in the leak. 2, set micro boundaries. No, you don't need to block everyone and move to a mountain, but you do need to stop answering every text immediately. You do need to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You do need to pause before saying yes out of guilt. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They don't keep love out. They keep exhaustion out. 3, shift from reaction to intention. Start the day by asking, where does my energy need to go today? Not what's urgent, not what's trending, but what matters most to my peace, my growth, my purpose. Because if you don't choose, the world will choose for you. And the world is not interested in your fulfillment. The world wants your attention for free. Stop giving it away. 4, honor the power of silence. Your nervous system wasn't built for constant input. You need stillness. You need moments where you're not consuming anything. No podcasts, no notifications, no noise, just breath, presence, quiet. This isn't laziness. This is recalibration. Silence is where your energy regenerates. Stillness is where your power recharges. Presence is where your intuition becomes clear again. And here's the most important thing. 5, stop justifying your peace. You don't owe people access to you just because you were once available. You don't owe your energy to people who consistently drain it. You don't owe explanations for choosing your well-being. The most successful people in the world aren't the busiest. They're the most protected. They've designed lives around clarity, not chaos. They say no more than they say yes. They choose silence over noise, depth over popularity, purpose over performance. You can do the same. And the shift doesn't start with massive action. It starts with one question. Is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, walk away. Because what you allow is what continues. And what continues becomes who you are. You are not here to live your life exhausted. You are not here to be a slave to everyone else's expectations. You are not here to constantly repair yourself from the damage of people you shouldn't have let in. You are here to become intentional, to become powerful, to become clear. And that starts with understanding that your energy is sacred. Every moment, every breath, every decision, it's either leaking or building. So choose today. Will you spend your energy on things that shrink you? Or will you protect it like your purpose depends on it? Because it does. Let's be real, most of us are not living our lives. We're living performances. Not because we're fake, but because somewhere along the way we got the message, who you are isn't enough. So we started editing ourselves, shrinking, shaping, filtering. We became experts at adjusting to whatever room we walked into, hoping someone would finally say, you're good enough now. But let me tell you the truth that set me free and will set you free too. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be aligned with yourself. Approval is addictive, but it's also expensive. Because to get it, you trade the one thing that's non-negotiable, your peace. Every time you say yes to impress someone else, you say no to yourself. Every time you hold back your truth to avoid judgment, you suffocate a piece of who you are. Every time you seek validation from outside, you lose the ability to trust your own voice inside. That's the trade. And most people are paying that price every single day. Let me ask you something hard. How many of your decisions have been made to avoid disappointment? How many of your dreams have been delayed because someone might not approve? How much of your life has been shaped by trying to be palatable, acceptable, likable? You weren't born for that. You were born with an inner compass, a voice, a pull, a truth. And every time you ignore it for applause, that voice gets quieter. Until one day you wake up successful but miserable, loved but hollow, approved but lost. I've worked with people at the top of their fields, actors, CEOs, influencers. And let me tell you something shocking. They still struggle with this because the applause never lasts. The comments fade. The likes stop. And if your worth is tied to how much you're validated, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's opinion. That's not freedom. That's emotional slavery. But here's the truth you need to hear. You do not need permission to be yourself. You do not need approval to grow. You do not need applause to move forward. You need alignment. You need self-trust. You need peace. And peace doesn't come from people clapping. It comes from finally walking in your own direction, even when no one understands it. One of the most dangerous questions you can ask yourself is, what will they think? Because the second you ask it, you hand over the steering wheel. Your dreams now belong to their judgment. Your actions now require their applause. Your peace now depends on their opinion. That's not a life. That's a performance. Let me remind you, the people who changed the world, the people you admire, weren't the most liked. They were the most authentic. They weren't loud because they wanted attention. They were loud because the truth inside them couldn't stay quiet anymore. You don't get to freedom by being liked. You get to freedom by being true. And yes, some people will not like it. Some people will misunderstand you. Some will criticize you. Some will fall away. That's okay. Because here's the most powerful lesson I've learned. The more you align with your truth, the more your life will filter itself. The wrong people will walk away. The right ones will rise. The chaos will quiet. The direction will sharpen. But none of that can happen if you're still addicted to being liked. Let's be honest. Approval seeking shows up in sneaky ways. You overthink that message before you send it. You dress for them, not for you. You say yes when your whole soul is screaming no. You downplay your success because you don't want to make others uncomfortable. You silence your opinion to avoid confrontation, and little by little, you disappear. Not all at once, but piece by piece, version by version, until what's left is a mask. That mask may get compliments, but it never feels safe. Because the whole time you're afraid that if they really knew you, they'd leave. That fear, that's the signal you've been living for someone else's comfort. And I'll say it loud. It is not your job to make others comfortable. It is your job to live your truth with clarity and courage. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing approval, you become magnetic. Why? Because authenticity is rare. Confidence is contagious. People respect you more when you respect yourself enough to not need their validation. And when you stop seeking to be liked, you start becoming whole. It's time to break this pattern, to stop outsourcing your self-worth, to stop giving power to people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared tomorrow. So I want you to try something radical. Start disappointing the people who expect you to abandon yourself. Let them misunderstand you. Let them gossip. Let them call you selfish. Your job isn't to stay small so others feel big. Your job is to grow even if it makes them uncomfortable. This is what real freedom feels like. Not being fearless, but acting in alignment despite fear. Not being rude, but being rooted. Not being arrogant, but being anchored. When you walk into a room, don't ask, will they like me? Ask, will I like myself when I leave this room? Because that's what matters. You, your reflection, your truth, not their applause, not their opinions, not their judgments. You want to be powerful. Let go of needing to be approved. You want to be unstoppable. Let go of needing to be understood. You want to be free. Let go of needing to be liked. You are not a product for people to rate. You are a presence, a truth, a force. And the moment you stop shrinking for others, your real life begins. In today's world, silence is almost extinct. We live surrounded by noise. Noise from our phones. Noise from opinions. Noise from expectations. Noise from the constant, never-ending pressure to do more, be more, post more, prove more. It's no wonder so many people wake up every day feeling lost, like they're chasing something they can't name. But I want to tell you a truth that most people never hear. You're not lost. You're just disconnected. Disconnected from yourself. disconnected from your own voice, disconnected from the stillness that once guided you but got buried under the noise. You don't need more advice. You don't need another podcast. You don't need to scroll through another 100 reels of people telling you how to live. You need to get quiet because clarity doesn't scream. Clarity whispers. And if your life is too loud, you'll never hear it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat in silence? No music, no scrolling, no multitasking, just you, your breath, your thoughts. For most people, the answer is never. And that's the problem. We're afraid of silence because we're afraid of what might surface. We say we want answers, but we don't want to do the one thing that reveals them being alone with ourselves. You see, silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of awareness. It's where your intuition lives. It's where your wisdom waits. It's where your real self shows up, not the edited version you perform for the world. But most people are so overstimulated, they can't sit still for 5 minutes without reaching for their phone. They've trained themselves to escape discomfort instead of explore it. Here's the truth. The longer you avoid stillness, the further you drift from yourself. And the further you drift, the more you feel like a stranger in your own life. You start making choices that don't feel right. You stay in relationships that don't nourish you. You pursue goals that were never yours to begin with. You build a life that looks good but doesn't feel good, all because you stop listening. So I want to offer you something radical, something so simple, yet so powerful, it can change everything. Turn down the world. Turn up your soul. Turn off the noise. Literally, put your phone on airplane mode. Close your laptop. Sight down and listen. At first, it'll feel uncomfortable. Your brain will resist. It'll scream for stimulation. You'll reach for distraction out of habit. You'll want to check, scroll, swipe anything but face the silence. But if you stay, if you lean in, something beautiful happens. You start to hear your real voice again. Not the voice of anxiety, not the voice of your critics, not the voice of who the world told you to be. Your voice, the one that knows when something isn't right, the one that whispers your next step, the one that reminds you of what truly matters. And once you reconnect with that voice, your life begins to realign. Because clarity doesn't come from consuming more. It comes from clearing space, from subtracting the noise, from simplifying. Let me tell you something I've learned through years of stillness, meditation, and coaching others. You already know what to do. You're just too distracted to hear it. You already know that relationship is draining you. You already know that habit is keeping you stuck. You already know what your next step is, but your knowing is being drowned by noise. And here's what's wild. The world doesn't want you to be silent. The world wants your attention. The world profits from your distraction. Your silence, that's rebellion. That's power. That's how you take your mind back. You want peace? You want direction? You want to finally feel like yourself again? Stop asking everyone else for answers. Start asking yourself better questions and make space to actually hear the answers. Not from fear, not from ego, not from what's trending, but from the still, quiet voice inside you that has always known. That's your truth. That's your compass. That's the voice that leads you home. Let me offer you a practice. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be consistent. Daily inner stillness practice. 10 minutes in the morning. No phone, no music, just breath. Sit, walk, journal, whatever helps you drop in. Ask, what do I need to hear today? Then listen. Don't judge the silence. Don't try to control it. Just observe. Let it reveal. You don't need a retreat. You don't need a guru. You need presence. Because when you silence the outside world, you start to hear the guidance that's been there all along. And that guidance, it's more accurate than any influencer, more powerful than any algorithm, more aligned than any trend, but you'll miss it if you never stop to listen. You were not born to be led by noise. You were born to be guided by wisdom, and that wisdom lives inside you. But here's the thing. You can't access it while you're multitasking your way through life. You can't find alignment while drowning in overstimulation. You can't hear your purpose while you're scrolling past it. You can't meet your highest self while ignoring the present one. So take your power back. reclaim your attention. Protect your peace. Disconnect to reconnect. Because once you find your inner voice, really find it, you become unshakable. The world can be loud, but you'll be centered. Opinions can fly, but you'll be grounded. Chaos can swirl, but you'll know exactly where you stand. That's clarity. That's focus. That's your next level. So ask yourself, is my life being led by noise or by knowing? And if the answer is noise, choose silence. Because silence is not empty. It's full of answers. Let's break a popular myth. Success doesn't come from time management. It comes from energy management. Time is equal for everyone. We all get 24 hours. But why is it that some people do more in 4 hours than others do in a full day? Why do some people finish their day feeling aligned, fulfilled, and focused, while others crawl into bed drained, frustrated, and empty? It's not their to-do list. It's not their morning routine. It's not even discipline alone. It's what they protect and what they no longer tolerate. Let me tell you this as clearly as I can. You're not burnt out because you're doing too much. You're burnt out because too many things are draining you. You're giving energy to what doesn't give anything back. That gossip at work, energy drain. That friend who calls only to complain, energy drain. That mindless scrolling habit at midnight, energy drain. That mental loop of overthinking every conversation from the past week, energy drain. And what's worse, you don't even realize you're leaking until you're empty. We live in a world that teaches us how to grind, hustle, and overachieve, but no one teaches us how to guard our energy like it's sacred. And it is. Energy is life force. When you mismanage it, you mismanage your potential. You can have the most brilliant ideas, the clearest vision, the deepest passion, but if your energy is scattered, none of it manifests. Let me say it like this. Your energy is either fueling your future or feeding your fatigue. And the difference, intention, boundaries, awareness. Let me ask you something direct. Do you know what actually replenishes you? Not numbs you, not distracts you, not delays your discomfort. What replenishes you? Most people can't answer that question because they've never paused long enough to ask it. We keep saying, I'm tired. But tired of what? Is it the task or the tension around the task? Is it the work or the way you overextend yourself to please everyone while doing it? Some of you aren't tired because of what you're doing. You're tired because of what you're tolerating. Energy isn't just about what you do. It's about who you do it with. It's about what you say yes to out of guilt. It's about what you refuse to walk away from because you're afraid of disappointing someone. But here's the truth. Every yes you give to something draining is a no to your purpose. That's why energy management isn't selfish. It's strategic. It's the only way to ensure your time goes toward what actually matters. Let me give you something practical because this isn't just spiritual advice. This is neuroscience. Your brain operates best in focus blocks. Every distraction you entertain, whether it's a notification, a text, a toxic person, or your own looping thoughts, pulls you out of flow. And regaining flow, that can take 15 to 30 minutes. So imagine this. You finally get into deep work, then a message pops up. You answer, you scroll, you lose your rhythm. Now multiply that pattern across every day, every task, every week. That's not just stress. That's energy hemorrhage. And when you lose energy, you lose clarity. When you lose clarity, you start questioning your purpose. When you question your purpose, you begin chasing noise again. It's a vicious cycle, and the only way to break it is to treat your energy like the rarest asset you own. So how do you start? 1, audit your energy inputs. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what gave me energy today? What drained me? What do I need to eliminate or change how I engage with? Don't wait until you're depleted to notice your patterns. Track them now. 2, protect your morning. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, you've already handed your energy to the outside world. Start your day with intention, silence, movement, breath, journaling. Do something that brings your attention inward before you face the world. Your energy should flow outward from within, not be pulled outward before you even wake up. 3, say no without apologizing. Every yes is a contract, a silent agreement that your time and energy are being spent on that person, place, or task. So ask yourself, is this aligned with where I'm going? If it's not, give yourself permission to say no. Not because you're selfish, but because your energy is sacred. Boundaries aren't barriers. They're blueprints for the life you're building. 4. Create space to recharge. Rest is not a reward, it's a requirement. And no scrolling isn't rest. Netflix binging isn't restoration. Escaping isn't replenishing. You need active recovery. Stillness, nature, creativity, breath, laughter, real conversations, presence. Because you don't just need sleep. You need soul rest. 5. Detach from energy vampires. Yes, I said it. Some people are addicted to draining others. They thrive on chaos. They pull you into cycles of guilt, drama, and emotional labor. It's not your job to fix them. It's your job to protect your frequency. And if someone consistently leaves you more exhausted than inspired, distance is not rude. It's wise. You don't need to make a dramatic exit, but you do need to stop giving them the front row seat to your energy. Let them sit in the back or outside while you protect the atmosphere you're trying to grow in. Here's the truth I need you to carry. The most disciplined people aren't the ones who do the most. They're the ones who know what to walk away from. So if you feel stuck, if you feel heavy, if you feel like you're running on fumes, it's not because you're lazy. It's because you've been leaking energy for too long. And today, you plug the holes. You make the shift. You stop performing for exhaustion and start protecting your expansion. Because when you protect your energy, your purpose gets louder, your peace gets stronger, and your power becomes unshakable. You don't need to do more. You need to leak less. That is your new superpower. Let's clear something up right now. You're not late. You're not behind. You haven't missed your chance. You're just distracted. And distraction is the silent destroyer of dreams. Every single day, you're pulled in 1,000 directions. Notifications, messages, requests, responsibilities, comparison, pressure. And every single day, your energy gets scattered until you look up and wonder, why haven't I made any real progress? But it's not because you're not capable. It's because your attention has been hijacked. You're trying to build your best life while responding to everyone else's demands. You're trying to reach your next level while reacting to chaos you didn't choose. You're trying to grow into the person you're meant to become while constantly living in survival mode. Let me be honest with you. You can't create a life of purpose if you're always operating on autopilot. Intention is the difference between movement and momentum. You can be busy all day and still go nowhere. You can cross off your whole to-do list and still feel like something's missing. You can give 100% effort, and if it's pointed in the wrong direction, it won't matter. Let me give you an image. Imagine a person rowing a boat with all their strength, but they're rowing in circles. That's what most people are doing. You don't need more effort. You need more alignment, and that starts by making one courageous shift. Stop reacting. Start choosing. You were never meant to live life in response mode. You were meant to live on purpose, by design, not default. Here's the hard truth. If you don't set the tone for your day, the world will set it for you. If you don't prioritize your values, someone else's urgency will hijack your time. If you don't choose where your energy goes, life will scatter it for you. So here's the invitation. Start living on purpose. Every morning, ask yourself, what truly matters to me today? What's one thing I can do to move closer to my vision? What distraction will I eliminate just for today? That's what intentional living looks like. Not perfection, not hustle, clarity, direction, discipline. Most people don't lack time. They lack intention. Time is neutral. It becomes meaningful only when it's used on purpose. Let me ask you something real. How much of your day is spent on things that actually reflect the life you want to create? Be honest. Not the life that gets applause. Not the life that looks good on Instagram. Not the life your parents or friends expect of you. Your life, your path, your future. If the answer is not much, that's not failure. That's a wake-up call. You don't need to fix your whole life overnight. You just need to take one step on purpose. Because when you live with intention, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for the right moment. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You become the author of your days. And authors don't react, they create. Look, I know life is chaotic. I know you have responsibilities, deadlines, distractions. But that's exactly why intention is more important than ever. Without it, you'll always feel like you're chasing time. With it, you start directing time. Let me give you 5 practices to anchor your life in intention. 1, own your mornings. Before the world has a chance to influence you, take control of your mindset. Even 10 minutes of silence, journaling, or breathwork can shift your entire day. Don't start your morning in reaction. Start it in reflection. 2, choose 3 priorities. Not 10, not everything, just 3. Ask, if I only get these 3 things done today, would I feel aligned? Then do those things before you give your energy to anything else. 3, build boundaries that protect your purpose. Your time is not a free-for-all. Your energy is not an unlimited resource. Start saying no to what drains you so you can say yes to what grows you. And remember, no is a complete sentence. 4, track your alignment, not just your achievement. We celebrate productivity, but ignore peace. Track both. Ask daily, did I live in alignment with my values today? Did I honor my energy? Did I do what actually matters to me or just what's urgent? 5, end your day with intention too. Don't let the day blur into the next. Reflect, reset, realign. Write down one thing you're grateful for, one lesson you learned, and one intention for tomorrow. That's how you build momentum that lasts. That's how you wake up in purpose, not by accident. And here's what happens when you start living with intention. You stop chasing, you start creating, you stop fearing other people's pace. You start trusting your own rhythm. You stop doubting if you're behind. You start seeing how aligned you actually are. Because the truth is, you were never behind. You were just distracted from your own clarity. And once you reclaim that clarity, once you protect it with every breath, every yes, every boundary, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get anchored. So let me leave you with this. Stop trying to do more. Start being more intentional. Stop running in every direction. Start walking your path. Stop measuring your worth by how fast you're going. Start measuring it by how aligned you feel. Your life doesn't need to be louder. It needs to be truer. And that truth, it begins with one powerful choice: to live your next moment with intention, because intention is the doorway to transformation. And once you walk through it, everything begins to fall into place.